I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
After working hard at the gym, you need a mattress that works as hard as you do. Spinaline has engineered the perfect mattress for you and your active lifestyle. Don't compromise your recovery with inferior sleep. Order your Spinaline mattress today.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
RX Television on RXMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. All your questions, diet, training, supplementation, anything and everything outside of the bodybuilding world, inside or outside the bodybuilding world, it is all on the table. So now bringing Dave Palumbo. Dave, a lot of ground to cover here before we get to the questions. First, a special from our friends at Titan Medical. Of course, Valentine's Day, just about a month away, so it's not too early to get ready. And when I say ready, you know exactly what I mean. They have what I will just call the umbrella term, the Palumbo Special. And for those that want to be ready to perform, they have a 3-pronged special available if you want to give the audience a little primer about the Palumbo Special at Titan Medical.
Right. Well, we all know about Cialis and we all know about Viagra. You know, obviously these are prescription drugs that actually will help, you know, get you an erection, you know, and keep it longer. A lot of people have problems. They use erectile dysfunction drugs like I said, Cialis and Viagra, or they just use it because they want to, you know, have a little extra fun in the sack, so to speak. Anyway, because we've had such a depressing year, I talked to Titan Medical, and we wanted to put something out that's a little more positive, get people in a good mood, so to speak. So they got 2 different formulas. One's called the Iron Man or Iron Man's, and that's sildenafil, which is basically Viagra essentially. And it's mixed with arginine, which is obviously a vasodilator, and it's in a troche. You put it under your tongue. So it's sublingually absorbed as opposed to having to go through your digestive system. So it's quicker. You can use a whole one or a half one, and they work really quickly and really well. A lot of people prefer these. These are things you can get from TitanMedicalCenter.com. Tell them you want the Ironman. They're, I believe, $12 a piece. And then they have the I guess the equivalent of, this is what I would call, well, they're calling it the Cupid's Candy. Cupid's Candy basically is Cialis, which is tadalafil, PT141, which is a peptide that actually is very similar to melanotan, except it doesn't make you tan. It only arouses you. And then it also contains oxytocin, which we know is the love hormone, so that puts you in the mood. So I know a lot of women have been using this Cupid's Candy formula, once again, under the tongue, and voila. And this is for men and women. This is $15 a piece. If you buy actually 5 of these, and you can mix and match, you get one free. That's the Palumbo Special. So you got to mention my name and you'll get a free one if you buy 5 or more, which most people are buying probably 10. They'll get 2 free. So that's great. And you know what the truth is, that you know, you don't have to have erectile dysfunction to use this. This is something you can just kind of use on the weekends if you want. The great thing about what I like better about the tadalafil, which is the Cialis, is it lasts a lot longer. Whereas Viagra only lasts 12 hours or so. This lasts 48 hours and sometimes longer. So you call up Titan Medical, mention the Palumbo Special, they'll give you that. And of course, they still are running great pricing on blood work. I know a lot of people, it's the first of the year, they want to get their blood work done before they kind of start up for the season. You can do that as well, so when you call them up. And then, of course, if you want to get any of your immune system type of injectables, I use the Tri-Immune from them, which contains zinc and vitamin C. and glutathione. I love it. I use it every day. Actually, I alternate. One day I use that. One day I use just pure glutathione, injectable. And that's Robbie Robinson claims that's his secret to his youth. So I believe Robbie Robinson. So I've been using that for quite a while, and I feel good, and I don't get sick. And so, but there's a lot of different formulas they have, and you can talk to them on the phone. The people who work there are really great. So thank you, TitanMedicalCenter.com. Check it out. Mention the Palumbo special.
So again, you have to mention the Palumbo special and calling Titan Medical. Dave, before we get to the questions, real body transformation. This is something that's been out there for quite some time. Our good friend Anthony Lally, who we had on the show about 4 or 5 months ago, highlighted his own radical transformation. Well, they are partnering up with RXMuscle right now, and we're giving a golden opportunity to RXMuscle fans, subscribers, to put themselves through their own radical body transformation. Well, this would have an epic grand prize on the other end of it.
Yeah, they're giving away over $100,000 in cash and prizes. I decided I had used to do transformation challenges back when I was with Muscle Development, and you know what, I hadn't got away from it, and I felt like it was time. And James Hergott, who runs the Radical Body Transformation site, they're also the #1 fitness show on Amazon Prime. So I said, you know what, I got to team up with these guys. We got to do this. We're going to use their coaches. We're going to hold a contest. You're going to submit your story. We'll pick the best 5 people. But then, and we're going to give a coupon code out so you get 25% off all Species Nutrition products, which we're going to be plugging into this challenge. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to pay to sign up. You don't have to pay to enter. If they pick you as one of the 5 people, you'll get free coaching, free supplements. Everyone else can follow along at home. And we're going to be giving, diet tips. We're going to be giving motivation tips. We're going to be giving supplement tips so that you guys can actually do the challenge at home. It's like having your own coach, basically. Every week I'll have on a new person who's in the challenge, updating. I might get Mr. G on for some rah, pep rally type stuff. And it's going to be a 12-week transformation challenge. It doesn't necessarily have to be losing weight. It could be gaining muscle. Whatever your transformation is that you want to make, this is going to be something that's going to help motivate you in the new year, starting February 1st. And once we launch the first episode, then you'll be able to follow along. But in the meantime, that's when you'll have to start submitting your applications at their website. And we'll get to that, and we'll be providing more information in the coming weeks. We still have a couple weeks before we get started, but I'm super psyched about it because I love to motivate people, and this is why I do this. It's great to make a living doing what you love, Sid, but at the end of the day, I don't need to do all these extras, but I enjoy this. I like seeing people make progress. I'm like a people pleaser. I want people to say, holy mackerel, you changed my life. It makes me feel good to help other people, and I know it's changing other people's lives, and then they're going to pass that on and pay it forward to other people. And this is how it works. So I'm super excited to be working with Anthony Lally and James Hergott. And once again, stay tuned in the following weeks.
Let's get to the questions now. Generally,
we also, Sid, I want to also mention one more thing. Sorry, I hate when we have to do promotion stuff, but I know people like this stuff because they want to know whatever the latest and greatest is. But we have a Species Nutrition New Year's sale coming out this week. I have some short-dated product that's dated at the end of March. It's not that many. There's several hundred, but I know these are going to go fast, so I'm pricing them to move. So guys, if you don't act quickly, they will be gone. They're 22-serving cookies and cream isolized. Same great, macros, 28 grams of protein per serving. $19.99. This is almost cost, guys. I'm telling you, when we price them this low, they go like wildfire. So, because people buy, 10 and 20 of them at a time. Don't wait. If you like cookies and cream with the little pieces of sugar-free cookie in the actual isolized, this is the flavor for you to try. I'm telling you right now, they will be gone. You got to go to speciesnutrition.com. And of course, if you spend more than $100, you will get free shipping as well within the continental United States. I'm telling you, don't call my office crying to my wife that you want some. You got to act quickly because we don't have that many. And once it's while supplies last, so as soon as they're gone, that's it. The sale's over.
Let's get to the question now. Generally speaking, the first 2 questions we take are from the Dave Palumbo Experience app, though we did not get questions from there. So, Dave, before we go to the Instagram questions, for those not aware of the Dave Palumbo Experience app, you want to give them a
We actually did. Yeah, we actually did get questions. I don't know why you didn't get them. He said them to me.
They're not in my inbox.
We'll do them next week. The Dave Palumbo Experience app is my app that we have. It's $29 a month, and you have me as your personal coach in your pocket on your phone, basically. All my videos I've ever done, all the writings I've ever done. We put up a workout every single week. We do exclusive Q&A video once a week, and we cull those from the questions from you guys, the app members. So you can ask as many questions as you want to me on the app. I answer them in a public forum. The best ones I take and I answer them in a video format so you can actually hear me saying and answering the questions. It's a super, super great resource. It's very affordable, especially for people who can't afford coaching. I have people who are coaching with me and they have the app because it's even extra. If you're trying to even learn to be a great coach, it's a good app to belong to because it's a great resource that if you have a question you're not sure about, you're working with clients, you can always ask me. So check that out at the iTunes or Android store. You can download that. Great New Year's type of thing you can sign up for to kind of get you super motivated.
Dave, actually, I see him now. So let's go to the questions.
Okay.
For a girl powerlifting, is there anything wrong with running a dose of anavar at 25 ng?
If the anavar is real, which is in today's day and age is sometimes hard to find, and you can always test the anavar with the anavar testing kits from Roy Test that I sell at DavePalumbo.com. Assuming your stuff is real, from what I've found over the last 25 years of being in this business and working with women, anavar really has very, very few side effects. Anyone who says it has side effects usually is not using real anavar, unfortunately. So that's a good thing. In other words, you're not going to get a lot of hair. You're not going to get facial hair growth. Your voice is not going to get deeper. So that's this very safe type of anabolic. It's probably the only safe anabolic that has virtually no side effects for women. Even Winchell and Primabone, assuming Primabone is real, while they're mild, they can cause side effects in certain people who are susceptible, okay? So anavar is always a safe bet if you're looking for something that's like going to add some muscle to your body and you don't have to worry necessarily about getting side effects. Just make sure if you're a woman, always test your drugs with, the Roy Test kits because it just doesn't pay. If you're using something, I don't care if 20 people told you this stuff is good. If you're taking Dianabol when you should be taking anavar, you're going to get major side effects, I promise you, and you're going to be very upset. So just test it. For $20, it doesn't, it's not worth even thinking about it. Test it. If it's good, then you use it.
Let's go to second question from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. Your opinion on using glutamine for gut health?
When people say, usually I get the question, what do you think about using glutamine for muscle repair and muscle recovery? And I'm always like, nope, doesn't do that. Why? Because the gut cells, the intestinal cells, steal all the glutamine. So when you're orally ingesting it, the gut cells steal it all because they use it to help regenerate themselves, and it's good for the inner lining of those intestinal cells. So if you're asking me for gut lining or immune system type of situation, glutamine is great. However, you have to remember, if you are dieting and you're taking a lot of glutamine turns into sugar pretty easily in the body, which will raise insulin levels, of course. So you could actually have problems losing weight if you're taking too much glutamine. So I usually don't have my people use glutamine. Now, if I have someone who has a really bad gut lining or they have like a colitis issues or Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, that's a good supplement to take just because it's going to really help with the lining of the gut in addition to a great probiotic, obviously, of course.
Let's go to our Instagram questions. Again, if you're not already following us, our handle is official_RXMuscle. And again, if you're not already following us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're already following us, hit the notification bell. You're not going to miss any of our upcoming segments or videos. Hit the like button if you enjoy what you're watching. As always, we appreciate your support. Let's go to Peaceful Warrior. Now, this is something that started to get whispers at around Olympia weekend, but now that we're about 2.5 weeks removed, we can ask this question now, give it some thorough light. Derek Lunsford, in your opinion, should he move to the open class?
To answer the question properly, I'd have to know where his head is at. If he's just going to move up because he didn't accomplish what he needs to accomplish in 212, then that's probably not a good idea. If he's going to put on a massive amount of muscle over the next year, then absolutely. In other words, if he's having trouble making weight and he's holding himself back, I would say go to the open class. He's young enough at this point. He's got enough height on him. Look, Hadi Chupin's not tall. Bonak's not tall. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are on the shorter side in the open class now. Grow. Put as much muscle as you can on. This is what bodybuilding's all about. He's got a big structure. He can hold it. I think he'll look like a freak with a lot of muscle. I think he can hold the muscle. He doesn't have that distended stomach. He doesn't even look like he has a structure to have a distended stomach. So if I were him, I would certainly go up. And then I would also try to figure out, and align yourself with the right people to help you get into the best shape of your life, because I think that there's a problem. Now, I don't know if the problem was occurring because of the fact that he has to suck down and make weight. I'm not sure. When I interviewed him last, I think that was an issue. When he does suck down, he tends to, just lose some of that wow and gets really flat. So why not go up to the open at this point? If he can always go back down to you can never have too much quality muscle on your body. So let's say he went 8 pounds over the limit for, the 212. He still could always suck down if he absolutely had to. You know what I mean? If he said, it's just not working, the judges are telling me go back to 212. It's not like it's going to ruin his chances to be a good 212 guy. So I say grow as much as you can right now and see how much wow you can add to that physique. You got a great structure. You got, people like you. You have a good following. Grow, compete at the end of next year, or this year now, I should say.
Let's go to JDG Birashaki. Dave, your thoughts on ready-to-drink protein drinks? I always was under the impression that whey protein in liquid for extended period of time will be denatured, as well as the pasteurization process will denature the protein as well.
The term denature implies taking a protein structure and basically protein structures have a three-dimensional twisting that happens to them, where they actually get turned into a certain configuration, which, as if they're hormones like insulin or growth hormone or IGF-1, makes them functional depending on that twisting. When you heat them, they unravel. That means denaturing means unraveling that three-dimensional structure. And when that twisting is unraveled, they lose their functionality as whatever hormone they were. However, when you're eating protein, okay, what's your body doing once you kind of swallow that whey protein? It's digesting it, right? It's breaking it down into di and tripeptides and free-form amino acids. So the functionality of the protein is not important anymore because you're breaking it down into its individual components. So as long as you're not like charring the protein, in other words, like if you take a steak and you cook it and it becomes like charcoal, you've destroyed everything. The whole integrity of the protein is gone. But if you're heating something up, okay, if you're putting whey protein with your oatmeal in the microwave oven, that's not going to ruin your body's ability to harness those amino acids and use them to repair muscle tissue. So heating while denature, you wouldn't want to put your growth hormone vial in hot water, or leave it out where in 90-degree heat, because that would denature the molecule and the functionality wouldn't work anymore. Okay, but when you're consuming protein, it's fine to heat it as long as you're not, like I said, completely demolishing the structure of it, like where you would churn it into charcoal or something like that, or carb it,
Let's go to Lisa Brown 79. Dave, I was wondering what you thought of beta blockers. I have an enlarged aortic root and was prescribed beta blockers. Been doing gear and training heavy for 30 years, 43 years old now.
Yeah. I have an enlarged aorta as well, and I get it monitored every year. I just, matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, I went for my CT angiogram and an echocardiogram, and I think mine got smaller. I don't know how it is, unless it's hard sometimes to measure these things. Mine's what they call stable, so it probably has been enlarged from being 300 pounds or something like that. As long as it's not getting bigger, they don't worry about it, and they don't have to replace it. I'm not on any beta blockers. When I also have an arrhythmia that I always had my whole life that I discovered several years back, that that they originally put me on beta blockers, and I just stopped taking them. I didn't need it. You know why? Because my blood pressure, number one, is under really good control. And that's, as I lost weight, that really made it very easy. And I don't really get spiking heart rates. So I don't feel, every once in a while I might throw a weird rhythm because that's just, what's going on in my heart. But I don't really have arrhythmias on a regular basis where I'm worried about it. Now, I'm also not exercising at a super high intense level anymore, purposely because of that. Okay. And so I don't have to worry. And I'm also not carrying around 250 pounds of muscle that's putting a strain on my heart. If I was in this person's situation and I had a lot of muscle on my body and I'm on gear and I had an enlarged aortic root, I would really consider not doing gear anymore. Maybe staying on HRT, downsizing a little bit, because when you go to the gym and you're lifting super heavy weights, you're raising your blood pressure temporarily, mind you, through the roof, okay? If you're squatting like 400 pounds, your blood pressure coming out of that left ventricle into that aortic root is crazy high. And if you have an enlarged aorta, it could split, dissect. Talk to Chris Dim. That's what happened to him while he was training in the gym initially, and he almost died from it. And then he had to go in. They repaired it. Luckily, he was bleeding out. He got to the hospital. They fixed it. He didn't have a problem. He didn't lose the use of his legs until another surgery he had a couple of years later, because his descending aorta started to enlarge, and they tried to fix that, and that runs along your spinal cord, and that's when he had a problem. But you don't want your aorta splitting, okay? Because most people die when that happens. Chris got very, very lucky. And so, I know you don't want to hear this, but you're in your 40s at this point. You might want to reconsider lifting super heavy and weighing a lot, okay? Beta blockers won't protect that, okay? They're not going to protect that high pressure when you're going into the gym and lifting ridiculously heavy weights.
Let's go to Nate Perez, BB. A guy in my gym gained 50 plus pounds after competing at the amateur Olympia just 11 days out of the competition. What effects can that have on the body? So 50 plus pounds, 11 days after his competition.
A lot of people go into congestive heart failure. It's not chronic congestive, acute, meaning short term, meaning your heart just doesn't, it's so swelled up with water, it can't pump properly, your legs blow up. The best thing you can do is when you start gaining, as soon as you go over that 10, 15 pound mark of water weight gain, because what it is, it's a water rebound. Because what you're doing is you're restricting salt, you're restricting drinking, you're taking diuretics, then you stop everything. Your body doesn't know. Your aldosterone levels are through the roof. Everything you eat and drink, okay, salt and water-wise, gets held. And so that's why you're not getting fat, you're just holding excessive water. So what you need to do is once you see that happening, is you got to go back on diuretics. So let's say you were taking some Diazides, to get ready for the show. Let's say by Monday, after the Saturday show, you've gained 25 pounds. You got to take a half a Diazide and get rid of that water, and keep taking that till you get your weight down to not necessarily contest weight, but no more than 10 pounds over. And you might have to take a half a diuretic a day or a full diuretic a day just to keep it there until your body and keep eating salt and drinking. Your body will keep flushing it out with the diuretics until your body regulates itself finally, and then everything goes back to normal. That can take up to a week sometimes. And sometimes that weight gain, that 50 pound you're talking about, won't happen for 2 weeks. People think they're out of the water. Hey, I'm good. The show's over. I didn't gain too much weight. I really look good. And then all of a sudden at the 2 week mark, they start gaining, 5 pounds a day, and they don't know what's going on. It can be delayed. Don't be, silly. There's no reason to suffer. And I know what happens initially is you look good. You look so pumped up. You get crazy pumps. You're hitting shots in the mirror. People going crazy in the gym. But you don't want to gain that much weight that quickly. That is not good for you, okay? So use the diuretics as necessary.
Good one here from Mr. Estanity. If 7-time Mr. Olympia Phil Heath, being as genetically gifted as he is and having won the Sandow at a young age, wasn't able to win his 8th and go on to win his 9th, do you think anyone else will ever be able to match Lee Haney and Ronnie, perhaps set a new record?
Look, we always say that records are meant to be broken, and there's been records in baseball that people said there'd never be broken, right? I mean, look at Barry Bonds broke the world all-time home run record. I don't think anyone thought that would be broken. I don't think anyone thought that the what's his name, the Iron Horse there, Lou Gehrig's record was going to be broken. Cal Ripken broke that. So they're meant to be broken. I think Dexter's record is way more solid than the 8-time Olympia record. I mean, Ramy could win 9 Olympias. I don't know how long he can go for. He's not that old. You never know. I guess he's in his early 30s now. There could be a new guy that comes along that does it as well. I mean, I don't think people thought Phil Heath would win 7 Olympias. I mean, I think people knew he was going to win the Olympia a couple times, but no one thought 7. So, I mean, if Ronnie wasn't around, Jay could have won 10 Olympias. So you don't know who the next, crazy guy on the block is going to be. Ramy came out of nowhere in 2013. There could be another Ramy on the horizon. So I wouldn't discount it. I thought Shanique Grant was going to win 10 Olympias or 11 Olympias and beat Iris Kyle's record, and she retired. So you just don't know. You know, it's hard. You got to have that Dexter mentality. I'm in this for the long haul because it's hard. You know, it's mentally hard to keep going year after year after year. And then you have to have the genetics to be able to do it without, you know, getting injured and missing stuff. So I think it can be broken. I just don't know when it will be broken. You know, I'm not a soothsayer.
That leads us perfectly into our next question. You mentioned Shanique Grant, Jade Cream officials. Thoughts on Shanique Grant dissing you and its strength and power? Obviously, I know you addressed it partially on Heavy Muscle Radio, you know, with everything with the back and forth that you had with Shanique after the video that you made with Lee the night that she announced her retirement. So if you wanted, you know, I guess respond to some of her comments in the way that you guys, I guess, covered the story of her retirement.
Yeah. Shanique, I think, was upset that everyone was, for some reason, speculating about why she might have retired and whether she's. I don't know why she was. You got to remember, she's very young. She's been in this industry for a very short period of time, and she doesn't understand that when you're at the top, everyone wants to analyze everything you do. And I think that's something that she doesn't necessarily have the thick skin yet. And she's been so successful in her career that really she has never had to deal with any negativity because everything she's done is so positive that all she's gotten is praise. So this was something like, you know, she didn't win the Olympia, and I've gone on record as saying I think it was a terrible decision. I thought she absolutely should have won. No disrespect to Sarah Villegas. I think she's a tremendous talent. But I just think that I don't know how they didn't put Shanique in there at first. But that, whatever the case may be, maybe that was negatively affected. But then she obviously is in love and she wants to start a family. You know, that was when she texted me. That was the gist of it. And I said, Shanique, that is all fine and great. I'm sure that's exactly what it is. But it's still fun for us as fans and as the press to speculate. You know, will you come back? You know, even though you're retired, you know, will we see you again? You know. Because that's what we do. It's nothing personal. I mean, I didn't say anything negative about her whatsoever. If anything, it was all positive that Lee and I said. We were chuckling a little bit because she's so genetically gifted. It's like, you know, I don't think anyone else probably would have quit at this point. But she's good. She's at peace with herself. She wants to have kids. So some people sacrifice that and never have kids. So it could be, she could have kids for the next 3 years and then come back after that and probably still win Olympias because she'd only be 27 at that point. You know, you never know. But I think she's got to understand that she is a public figure and she is a celebrity and thus is open to people discussing her. There's really nothing she can do about it. And she shouldn't get upset about it. Now, if someone's negatively talking about her, I can understand that more. But, you know, I did it in a very nice way, you know, and I was nothing but complimentary to her. So maybe some people said some stuff that maybe she didn't like, but you know what the truth is, we've done a couple shows in this. You got to grow very thick skin if you want to be a champion in this sport. Because I mean, talk to Phil, talk to Jay, talk to Ronnie toward the end of his career. They love you and they hate you at the same time. 1 minute you're the greatest, 1 minute they want you out. And that's just the way the sport works. And so if you can't take the scrutiny of being in there, then you shouldn't even be in there. I think it's a mistake for her to have sent emails and text messages to every single person that did a video on her. I think it just showed like a sign of insecurity. She shouldn't be insecure about anything because she's the best that there is. No one was able to beat her. This year doesn't count as far as I'm concerned because I think it was a terrible decision. She should be very, very at peace at how she looked and what she brought to the bodybuilding stage during her short career. If there's another career that's going to start up at some point in the future, then great. But there's nothing wrong with speculating. I really think that she overreacted a little.
Take a couple more questions from Juggernaut's Fitness. On a cheat meal or refeed day while cutting, does taking exogenous insulin make sense to help with a carb load?
Yes and no. Now, if you produce enough, in other words, I have guys that do these crazy cheat meals, and the next morning, their fasting blood sugars are through the roof. And you know what? If you do a crazy cheat meal and 2 hours after that cheat meal, your blood sugar is 170, that's a problem. That means your body doesn't have the ability to produce enough insulin to absorb all those calories you ate. If that's the case, then you probably should take a fast-acting insulin with a cheat meal. I used to do it back in the day, just not even knowing what I was doing. Because I would take insulin when I would take GH because I couldn't absorb my food. I always did one right before a cheat meal. And it definitely helped, I'm sure. And I never checked my blood sugars because no one had glucometers back then. So, but I think it's a good idea if you have a crazy cheat meal. And once again, now that we have these tools at our disposal, you can be checking your blood sugars 2 hours after a cheat meal, and you can see, is my blood sugar down under 130? If it is, great. Then I don't need it. My body's producing enough insulin. Am I over 130? Well, then you know what? Maybe I should take a little insulin before my cheat meal to help my body's pancreas deal with all these calories that I'm eating. So once again, and I've been saying this to a lot of clients I have who come to me and say, Dave, can you make me an insulin protocol? Can you write me up a GA? I say, insulin is not something that you just, is not like adding an anabolic in. It's, do I need it? And if I do, which insulin do I need? Do I need a long-acting or short-acting or both? And there's different answers for each individual person based on what their numbers are. And that's the key. I don't care. You can go with all you want and listen to all the bro science out there and all these guys that like have all these crazy insulin protocols with, you know, massive amounts of it and ingesting tons of sugar. The bottom line is insulin usage should be based on what your blood sugars are and how your body is handling the calories that you're consuming. Okay, and because everyone needs different. I needed an enormous amount of calories to grow because my metabolism was so fast. Some guys don't need a lot of calories. They don't eat a lot of food. So why are they going to take insulin? There's no need for it, especially if their blood sugars are doing fine on their own. And that's just, you know, that's just smart. That's science. You know, that's being smart about how you're approaching your bodybuilding.
Let's go to Fit Squad for some of the older guys. What exercises can men over 40 and over 6 feet tall do to get bigger legs?
Nothing beats squatting. Squats are king, okay? The reason being, free weight squats I'm talking about. The reason why they're so good is because not only are you working the quad muscles and the hamstrings and the adductors, but you're having to stabilize the weight, holding that weight, that free weight bar. And that stabilization brings in a whole host of other muscles that I don't even know I don't even remember all the names of. I'm sure I learned them all in medical school. All the weird little adductor muscles and the TFL, or the tensor lata muscle on the side of your leg. All these stabilizing muscles in the glute medius and piriformis, they all get developed because you're using them all to, as you're lowering and raising the weight, to not only move the weight, but stabilize the weight. And so you get development that you don't get just doing a leg press or a hack squat. Because when you get into a machine like that, it locks you in and the machine stabilizes the weight for you. So you're losing development, essentially. Now, if you can't use free weight squats because you got a bad back or you have something wrong with your knees, I understand, that's a different story. But for people who don't have any issues, you got a free weight squat and you got to do full range of motion. Because if you're a tall guy and you're going 3/4 of the way down and you're not getting below parallel, you're missing activating some of the muscle fibers in your legs. And you can't afford to do that as a tall guy because then you're going to have a weird, short, looking leg. In other words, the leg muscle is not going to be fully developed. Whereas a guy who's short like Lee Priest, you can see him doing a partial rep and he's still growing just the same because his muscles, his femur bones are short. He doesn't have to develop, he doesn't need that range of motion. But when you have a long femur bone because you have a long leg, you have to utilize that full range of motion. I'm not the tallest guy. I was 5'10 and a half, at the height of my career. But I have a very long leg. I have a shorter torso. So my legs are long. I have a leg of a 6'1" guy. So I need to go all the way down. And I had very good full leg development because of that. And that's the key. It's not easy work. It sucks doing free weight squats. It feels good after you're done, but it hurts. And if you want to be the best, you're going to have to go through and endure a little bit of pain every week when you do those workouts. You got to squat.
That is going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Again, right now at speciesnutrition.com, cookies and cream isolized marked down to $19.99, limited supply only while supplies last. Again at speciesnutrition.com. That's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave. Special thanks to Tyler Shore and Dave Palumbo. I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.